and welcome to Football 301. I'm your host, Nate Tice, and I'm with Charles McDonald coming to you right after Sunday Night Football. It's time for the late hit. We had a Chiefs, Giants, AFC, NFC snooze fest? Efficient day? I don't know how else to put it. It wasn't a lot of fireworks except for Thornton, who is the only person that seems to be able to pop a deep ball on this Chiefs offense. Chiefs win 22-9 in a game with a lot of kicking on a day of a lot of kicking that we'll talk about later on this show. Some good, some bad, but they take this home 22-9. Patrick Mahomes breaks 224 yards. The Chiefs running backs actually ran for more than 100 yards with a high success rate. Typical, no explosive runs. But Charles, Mr. Forverts, you are here to join me to recap this this slog that capped off a pretty exciting day of the NFL. How you doing right now? What'd you think of that game?
It's fitting that this segment is called Late Hit because that is what that entire game felt like. They were just kicking each other nuts, like just over and over and over again. Missed field goals, sloppy play. We had some big time drops in this, some really bad passes. I mean, it was a slog to get through. But I missed again on my Hail Mary of the week, where I said the Giants will have more total yards than the Chiefs. They were off by 25. They had 281 to 306. So we're both getting closer on those, but one of these weeks we're both going to strike gold. I can feel it. I feel like Mahomes had another one of these games where it's, if you watched it live, you were probably pretty impressed. If you just look at the box score, you're probably like, just another still so game up from Mahomes. But finished with positive EPA again. Success rates were about where you want to see him for an offense that's trying to improve. So. He's still that guy, and we got some more moments on that. But man, it's just so hard for them to get things going. And I think that this was even like kind of a bad matchup with how the Giants are set up on defense. But there's just no explosives in this offense, and we saw it last year how that ended. And now it just kind of seems like they're hanging on for your dear life until Rashee Rice can get back, which seems like a kind of a tough place to be. Because the Giants, they gave him a game, they just don't have enough offense.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, they didn't. Not enough horses. And Russ can't really move the ball consistently right now. Or Russell Wilson. We got some Cam Scatterbo. He'll see a fine in his locker tomorrow for that little rhino he did right into a defendant, I think, Jalen Watson's chest.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
I thought it was Earl Campbell. Oh, my God. Just right into his chest. But that's how Cam Scatterbo runs. The comparison's James Conner. They run exactly the same. They catch exactly the same. I keep coming back with this Chiefs offense, but again, they had another fine day running. And that's why right before we recorded, I was like, I got to look up a stat. Yep, no explosive runs. Okay, that's exactly what I thought. It's like, all right, well, the same thing on the ground. Saw some Brashard Smith jet sweeps. That was actually kind of interesting, I think, from this Chiefs offense right now. I keep making the joke about Thornton, and I have a thread of all the deep balls he's catching. It's like good that Mahomes is getting some chemistry with the receiver, but also it's Tyquan Thornton. And it's like the Chiefs season is depending on Tyquan Thornton's ability, but he's playing well. And I looked it up. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes' average air yards when he's targeting Tyquan Thornton this year is 25.2. Just a quarter of the football field, every target. But he came down with the one. He bobbled the one. Next play, third down. There's Mahomes. It was awesome throw. Thornton's in the slot, runs like the deep corner. Mahomes got pressure, just uncorks it, and Thornton comes down with that one. That's what you need. But I was just looking at a lot of Tyquan Thornton stats in the second half. If I'm being honest, that's how I was enjoying this game. He's got 13 targets of 10 or more air yards. He has a 72.2%. This is my favorite. He has a 72.2% of Thornton targets are 10 or more air yards. Since the start of last year, everybody else is 25%. So he's getting triple the deep balls, basically. 5 completions of 10 or more air yards. He has a nice role in this offense, which is going to be interesting when Rashee Rice gets back, but the rest just feels the same. Got a Jawan Taylor illegal formation call. It's like, oh my God, you
get
guys
it right, man. Like, how often do you have to do this? Just get it right.
I know. And even, Travis Kelce's frustrating right now. We got an Andy Reid chest bump to get him going. I saw Mahomes. This is one of the first times on the field I've seen Mahomes get frustrated with Travis Kelce. Kind of when they misread like a zone play underneath. And that was interesting to me is like Travis Kelce. I like dad bod Travis Kelce last year because he was actually like becoming like a gritty blocker. And then now he's back to like his usual career where he's a negative blocker and he has to be hidden.
Yeah.
First or second play of the game, they run a sprint out. And all he has to do on a sprint out, this is why they're considered safer plays, is kind of just wedge the end. You kind of pin the end. Gets beat inside. It's like literally the only thing you can't do on a sprint out block is get beat inside. He's like, this is 14th year playing or whatever. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Great. The defense, actually, the Chiefs, it is the Giants, but Giants did put up a ton of points on the Cowboys last weekend. Maybe we're figuring out that's not very hard as we watch the Bears. We'll talk about that game later. Spoilers. Yeah. Chiefs defense had some nice moments, though. Chris Roland Wallace had a great interception where he sprinted to the opposite hash to pick off that first one. The second one was kind of funny. Like, Neighbors floated up to high point it and then realized that was going to be short, and he almost like levitated back down. Like he got excited and then he kind of floated back down when he realized it was going to be an interception. So I kind of cracked up with that. Any thoughts on what you saw from the Chiefs defense and kind of how they stifled this Giants offense outside some Cam Scatteroo plays? And that's really about it.
Yeah. That's basically it. I thought this was a good bounce back performance because we did see last week the Giants, like, in a vacuum, like they or not in a vacuum, but like theoretically, Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors should be able to do more stuff like they did against Dallas last weekend. When you just look at, big deep ball, we got the speed, the athleticism, the ability to catch, but they neutralized Neighbors today. He had a 0.57 yards per route run. Just not really couldn't get anything going there. He had 23 routes, he was targeted 7 times for 2 catches, 13 yards, and they kind of had to just get away from it, I guess, and just keep going to the Scatterbo game because that was one of the only things that was working for him. I thought Scatterbo had some hilarious receiving numbers for this game. He ran 15 routes. He was targeted 8 times. He was targeted 8 times on 15 routes. So every other passing play that he was out there running around, he was getting thrown the ball. But he averaged 4.7 yards per route run.
I mean, he's great on those little checkdowns. He's good on them. Like he gets up, that's what they all were, little checkdowns, like on play action. Yeah. It's touchdown to checkdown for us. So it's a perfect little chemistry with him.
I just wasn't sure if like I'm just going to grit my way and run people over stuff was going to work in the NFL. But it kind of is a little bit so far. He's a strong guy. He's a strong guy. So like if Tracy can get healthy, I don't know what the prognosis on his injury was. That is kind of like a little nice 1-2 punch for whatever the hell they figure out is going on in that offense. You got the running backs figured out, maybe. That's one thing.
I know they actually got 2 decent backs. Theo Johnson's interesting at tight end. Neighbors is cool. Like it's not like awful. Andrew Thomas, I think, played, but then Marcus Bowe, our guy Marcus Bowe, was playing left tackle, and I noticed Bowe when he from Purdue, he's a 5th round pick. When Jackson Dart went in, and this is a huge tell already when Jackson Dart's in, here comes the QB read play. Oh my God. I think it's 100% so far when he's in the game. Here comes a QB. It'll work. Don't get me wrong, which also says something about the Chiefs. But Marcus Bowe pulled on one. It was really nice. So I want to give him a little shout out there. We got to see Jackson Dart for a couple plays. It happened.
Do you guys know the Giants are really high on Jackson Dart? Have you heard that before?
Oh, were they talking about it on? See, I watch a lot of games on mute, so that's why I don't get to hear that.
Every time he came to the game, you guys know the Giants, they're really high. And I can't even speak about how high the Giants are. Well, put him in the game then. What the hell? What are we talking about here?
Play him.
If you're that high,
no one will be mad at you. Come on. I mean, that's what he just keeps saying, how excited he is, how amazed he is. Josh Allen Jr. It's just everything. I know, but I keep looking at the Giants schedule, like where they're going to parachute him in. I just can't figure out because they play the Chargers. They go at the Saints after that. Okay. That's not terrible. You don't really want your rookie to start on the road, but at the Superdome. All right. Then they go Eagles Thursday night at home. Then they go at Broncos. And usually you go mini bye would be like the time you get a rookie ready. At Denver against that defense wouldn't be my favorite one either. And then they go at Eagles. So curious when they decide, because obviously it seems like there's some frustrated guys right now with this offense. And I mean, maybe they just need a spark or something. I mean, everyone knows this is Dable's meal ticket. So they have to show some light, I'm sure he has a lot of incentive too, to make it look like a good, like, landing zone. But yeah, the Giants are an interesting team. Even their defense. Oh, Abdul Carter, they're doing the cool stuff with him, having him kind of like being the spinner over the middle of the ball, like Clay Matthews early in his career. I thought that was interesting too. I mean, he's dynamic as all get out. So that's pretty interesting, I guess, for the Giants, but their defense has kind of been a little bit of a disappointment so far this year. We'll see how it kind of ends up. But let's go back to the Chiefs, the team that won the game. They get their first win of the season. It's a wide open AFC West. The Chargers are 3-0, beating the Broncos today. And then we got the Raiders taking a tough loss against Washington, but still wide open AFC West, still wide open AFC. They go versus Ravens, home Ravens next week at Jags. I believe that's Sunday night, maybe Monday night, and then home Lions. So that's an interesting trio of games too. But how are you kind of feeling about them? A little better taste in your mouth about them? Or are you kind of feeling more of the same? Do you feel the team speed, it looks a little better with Smith and Thornton? Or do you think that's just not enough until Rice comes back?
It's definitely better with Thornton. I mean, because I'll tell you this about Tyquan Thornton. The only thing I knew about him coming off of that Patriots stint is that he was fast, That's basically it, because Belichick jacked him. It's like, oh, maybe we get a field stretcher, and then they couldn't figure out a way to get him on the field. And I don't know if that was just like straight, him not being good, which he wasn't very good, but maybe this is just like the step that he's taken with another a better quarterback and potentially better staff around him to help them build them up. So it was nice to see at least them getting the deep shots going, and I'm intrigued to see like how that molds once Rashee Rice gets back, but you're 1-2, and you still got to get through 3 more games of this before that happens. And even with as limited as Xavier Worthy is as a player on the field, they still miss him and his speed on the field, because even if he's not always going to be do the deep stuff, they still found like some gadget plays and stuff like that where they can get him on the move. And it's tough sledding, man. It's tough sledding, man. And, because we were joking all last season where, hey, they got 50% success rate. And they're moving the ball on time and on schedule, but it's 17 games plus playoffs. Like it's tough. You need some easy buttons, and they got to weather the storm until they can get there. But if Rashee is healthy and if he looks as good as he did in the preseason, like that's a huge plus for this offense in a way where they can actually get going in the passing game.
They just get to 500 with him. The defense is figuring it out a little bit. They're moving McDuffie around a little. It seemed like back into the slot. Maybe that was just like 1 or 2 plays standing out to me. And Spags always just gets better over time, even if it's just going to be the 12th best defense. That's enough. It's just that this offense has to find explosives as much. It's kind of similar to the Eagles discussion, but the Eagles are explosive on the ground. So that's why, I think Mahomes has a great handle. Even the play that he keeps throwing that swing route fumble, like where he's trying to burn the ball because Isaiah Pacheco has negative game awareness and he's running flat routes 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And he throws it in the ground, and like Mahomes realizes his mistake and like gets the ball back. And it's like, man, it's truly hero ball what he's doing right now. It's truly like, I'm doing everything. I'm saving the ball. And that was like a literal, almost like metaphor that happened like when he like went back to recover the ball, his own mistake, I guess. This is the last thing kind of leave it on is I'm keeping my eye on this because I was just trying to figure out, I went on a rant about the Chiefs last week, just trying to figure out what's off. And it really just feels like the team speed is off. Like, it's like, again, explosive, all that. And I know Rashee Rice has missed time. They just got Worthy last year. And I looked it up, and I looked up their ball carriers, their skill players. So receivers, tight ends, running backs, non-quarterbacks, when they've had the ball the last 3 years. And going back to 2022, and this is just a stat, I'll leave it at 28.6% of the time they had the ball, the Chiefs, one of their ball carriers broke 15 miles an hour. The league average is 26%. So they're just above league average. It's a good mark. That's like a top 5, top 6 mark. Last year in 2024, that number was 20%. So it dropped over 8% for 15 miles an hour, which is like a good brisk pace to get. Their average speed dropped from 13 miles an hour, almost on the dot, to 12.14 this past year. The league average is 12.76. So there is proof in the data that they look slower. And then when you look slower and you look smaller, like if you especially compare these older teams that they had, or the first kind of Mahomes Super Bowl run teams, those receivers were much bigger. Just think Sammy Watkins was on this roster too. So it just had guys like that there's just size and more speed. And, I kind of feel it with Kelsey, but you kind of just feel it with a lot of their skill guys. So, but the Chiefs pull out the victory. Maybe they just go on a run here. This is what they do. I'm not totally out on them. I know we did the buy sell last week, but I was kind of selling them as a contender, but I still buy them as a team that can make the playoffs and still they still have Mahomes. They still have enough. It's just not all perfect right now. Yeah. I'm very excited to go and watch back Simmons and Suamataia this game against that kind of Giants defensive line as well.
I would say next week's a gut check for Kansas City. Got Baltimore on the schedule. It's a gut check. Yeah. See what's going on there.
And I know, and it's a good matchup for the Ravens too, actually, because it's not really scared of the run game. So, like the Ravens defense isn't. So, not a bad matchup but they get them at home, which will be interesting. Also, great day for uniforms. We had the Bucks throwbacks, Jags throwbacks, which should be their staples anyways. That's maybe because it's just my childhood. Patriots, I like the Saints ones, but we talked about a lot today on YouTube. Charles and I went live to react to all of week 3 earlier today with 3 highs and 3 lows. That conversation is coming up right after the break.